I want you to picture two plumbers. Same age, same skill, same license, same 15 years of experience. Plumber 1 works in Ohio. He bought his own tools, $8,000 out of pocket over 15 years. He gets 0 paid vacation days, 0 paid sick days guaranteed by federal law. He buys his own safety gear. He buys his own health insurance. And when his knees give out at 45, he gets a card from the shop and a door. Plumber 2 works in Munich. His employer bought every tool he uses, required by law. He gets 30 paid vacation days per year, minimum. His employer provides every piece of safety gear required by law. His health insurance is covered. And when his body starts breaking down, there is a system designed to retrain him into inspection, estimation, or teaching, and that retraining is paid. Same trade, same skill, same body. Completely different systems. One of them treats tradespeople like professionals. The other one treats them like consumable parts. Guess which one is ours? If you work with your hands and nobody has ever shown you how other countries treat the same job, subscribe. This one is going to make you uncomfortable. Before I get into this, I want you to do some math right now. Quick, in the comments. Add up roughly what you have spent on your own tools over your career. Not the company's tools, your tools. The ones you bought, maintained, replaced, and carried from shop to shop. Do not guess low. Be honest. I am going to show you why that number does not exist in Germany, and why the reason it exists here tells you everything about how the American trade system views you. Remember the Ohio mechanic from our last video. 28 years on the job, 2 knee replacements. He did the math for me. He told me he spent $11,000 in tools over 28 years. His own ratchets, his own sockets, his own diagnostic scanner. And every time he changed shops, he loaded a 400-pound toolbox onto a truck. Because in America, the tools belong to you, not the job. In Germany, the tools belong to the shop. The mechanic shows up. The tools are waiting. He spent $11,000 because the industry decided that equipping him was his cost, not theirs. Let that number sit. Because everything I am about to show you follows the same pattern. Number 1, tools and equipment. In Germany, the employer provides all tools and equipment required for the job. That's not a perk. That's the law. The German Occupational Safety and Health Act requires employers to furnish the workplace with everything needed to perform the work safely and effectively. Tools, diagnostic equipment, safety gear, and specialized clothing are all provided by the employer. In Denmark, it is the same. The Danish Working Environment Act requires employers to provide all the necessary tools and personal protective equipment at no cost to the worker. In America, you buy your own. An average automotive technician in the United States spends $5,000 to $15,000 on personal tools over their career. HVAC technicians, electricians, plumbers, same story. The tools travel with you because no shop is required to provide them. You are essentially subsidizing your employer's business with your own capital, and the industry treats this as normal. Here's the part that should bother you. When a German tradesperson changes employers, they walk in with their lunch and their license. The tools are already there. When an American tradesperson changes shops, they rent a truck, load a 400-pound toolbox, and pray nothing gets stolen in transit. The tools are the second biggest investment of your career after the body that uses them, and neither one is insured by the employer. That's just the tools. Wait until you hear about the time off, because this is where the gap gets insulting. A tradesperson in Germany gets a minimum of 20 paid vacation days per year by federal law. Most receive 25 to 30 through collective agreements. That is 5 to 6 full weeks of paid time off every year, guaranteed and non-negotiable. A tradesperson in Denmark gets 25 paid vacation days per year, 5 full weeks, required by the Danish Holiday Act. They accrue 2.08 paid days per month, starting from day one of employment. Many public sector workers receive a 6th week. A tradesperson in America gets, by federal law, 0, not 1 paid vacation day, not 1 paid sick day. The United States is the only developed country in the world with no federal requirement for paid leave. None. Some states have passed their own laws, but the federal floor is 0. So while a German plumber is spending his 4th week in Spain with his family paid, an American plumber is working his 50th straight week because he cannot afford to take time off. If he gets sick, he either works through it or loses a day's pay. If his child gets sick, it is the same calculation. The German plumber never has to make that calculation because the system was designed to prevent it. Linda hears this and already knows the math. Dale has not taken a real vacation in 6 years, not because he does not want to, but because every day off is a day without pay. Linda planned a trip to see the grandkids last year. Dale said they could not afford the week. It was not the hotel that was expensive. It was the 5 days of 0 income. In Denmark, that trip is paid. In America, it is a financial decision disguised as a lifestyle choice. Tools, time off. Now here is the one that ties back to the last video because this is where the body enters the equation. Number 3, safety and health protection. In Germany, the employer is legally required to provide all safety gear, helmets, gloves, eye protection, hearing protection, and respiratory protection free of charge. This gear is not left in a dispenser by the door. It is provided, fitted, and maintained by the employer. German trainees must also receive periodic safety refreshers and updates on new procedures or equipment. The employer is legally liable for workplace injuries that result from inadequate safety provisions. In Denmark, the Working Environment Act requires employers to provide personal protective equipment and to report any workplace accident to the national insurance body. If the injury is workplace-related, the employer's insurance pays the compensation, not the worker's personal savings. In America, OSHA requires employers to provide some safety equipment, but enforcement is inconsistent, and the culture in most shops is that the gear is available, wearing it is optional, and using it slows you down on flat rate. Remember the last video. Every time a tech skips the respirator or kneels without pads to save 3 minutes, that is a margin calculation made with his body. Here is the number that crystallizes this. In Germany, if a tradesperson's body breaks down from occupational wear, not an acute injury but the cumulative damage of 20 years of kneeling and lifting, the social insurance system covers the rehabilitation and the retraining into a less physical role. The system was designed for the inevitability of body breakdown. In America, workers' compensation covers the acute fall, but not the 20 years of concrete that destroyed the cartilage. The American system treats cumulative occupational damage as wear and tear, as if your body wearing out from doing the job is the job's fault. The German system responds, your body broke down from working. We will fix it and retrain you. The American system responds differently. Your body broke down from working. That is your problem. One of our viewers, an electrician who spent 8 years working in Germany before moving back to the USA, sent me a message that captures the whole comparison. When I worked in Stuttgart, my employer gave me a full Hilti tool set on my first day. 15,000 euros in tools. Not mine, the company's. When I went on vacation, my tools stayed in the shop. When I came back to the USA and got a job in Atlanta, the foreman looked at my empty hands and asked, "Where are your tools?" I said, "Where are yours?" He did not understand the question. That was the moment I realized that in Germany, you are an employee. In America, you are a subcontractor pretending to be an employee, except you get none of the tax benefits. Number 4. The apprenticeship model. This is where the structural difference starts. Everything I just showed you, the tools, the time off, the safety, flows from one fundamental difference in how the two systems view tradespeople. Germany has a dual education system that has been refined for more than 800 years. At age 15 or 16, students can enter a formal apprenticeship, 2 to 3.5 years of structured, paid training. 2/3 of the training happens on the job. 1/3 happens in vocational school. The apprentice earns roughly 1/3 of a starting salary, not $14 an hour with no benefits, but a proportional wage with full worker protections. The training content is standardized nationally by the German Chambers of Commerce. Every electrician apprentice in Germany learns the same curriculum, passes the same exams, and earns the same certification, whether they apprenticed in Munich or Hamburg. The quality is uniform because the system is designed to produce professionals, not cheap labor. 326 recognized apprenticeship occupations exist in Germany. Each one has a defined training period, a defined curriculum, and a defined standard. The private sector pays 75% of the training cost. The public sector covers 25%. The employer invests in the apprentice because the system is designed for the apprentice to stay, not to burn out and be replaced. In America, apprenticeship programs exist, but they are fragmented, underfunded, and inconsistent in quality, and they vary wildly by state. There are no nationally standardized training curricula across most trades. A plumber trained in Ohio will have a different skill set than a plumber trained in Texas. And the unlimited earning potential pitch that brings young people into the trades comes with no mention of the body cost, the tool cost, the 0 vacation days, or the fact that the system has no plan for what happens to you at 45. So here is the question. This comparison forces you to answer, and it is not comfortable. Number 5. Why it's like this. The American trade system treats workers as independent operators embedded inside someone else's business. You buy your own tools. You manage your own health. You fund your own retirement. You absorb the physical cost of speed. And when your body fails, the system provides no structured path from the tools to the desk. The German system treats tradespeople as investments. The employer provides the tools, the training, the safety gear, the time off, and the retraining pathway, because the system was designed around one insight the American system refuses to accept. A tradesperson's body has a shelf life, and planning for that shelf life is cheaper than replacing the worker. Sound familiar? That's the QR thesis, applied to humans. The expensive option, investing in the worker's tools, health, training, and career transition, is cheaper over 30 years than the American model of burning through apprentices every 15 years. Spending $15,000 on a worker's tools once is cheaper than 20 workers each spending $8,000 on their own. 30 paid vacation days per year prevent the burnout that causes turnover. Mandatory safety gear prevents the injuries that create disability claims. Paid retraining at 45 prevents the unemployment that costs the social system more than the retraining itself. The expensive option is cheaper. The math just isn't obvious in the apprenticeship pitch. I'm not telling you to move to Germany. I'm telling you to negotiate like you know what you're worth, because now you know what a German tradesperson with your same skills actually gets. First, stop buying your employer's tools. If you are in a position to negotiate, ask the shop to provide the basic tool set. Frame it as retention. Shops that provide tools have lower turnover, lower theft, and higher morale. Not every shop will agree. But if you do not ask, the answer is always no. Second, negotiate paid time off, or take it unpaid on purpose. If your employer does not offer paid time off, negotiate it as part of your compensation package. If they will not budge, calculate 1 week of unpaid vacation per year as a fixed cost of your career and plan for it financially. Your body needs the recovery. Your family needs you present. The German system mandates it because the data proves workers who rest perform better and last longer. Third, document everything from day one. Hearing baselines, spinal assessments, joint evaluations, Take the occupational health physical we talked about in the last video. Build the evidence file that proves your body damage is occupational, because the American system will not help you unless you prove it. Fourth, build the exit plan at 35. Inspection, estimation, project management, code enforcement, teaching. The German system builds this transition in. The American system leaves it to you, so build it yourself, because nobody else will. Those two plumbers I showed you at the start, same age, same skill, same license. One gets 30 paid days off, employer-provided tools, mandatory safety gear, and a retraining pathway when his body breaks down. The other gets 0 vacation, buys his own tools, buys his own gear, and gets a card and a door. Both systems produce excellent plumbers. Only one system was designed to keep them. The expensive option, investing in the worker, is cheaper than replacing him every 15 years. Germany figured that out 800 years ago. We're still pretending the tools belong to the mechanic. They do not. They belong to the trade. And so does the body that uses them.